Arizona football got its Big 12 schedule. We're going to break down the entire schedule, and we're going to talk about who should be the favorite in the conference. All that and more on Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. We're always here first thing in the morning. All right, now also presented to you by FanDuel, FanDuel.com/LockedOn. All right, now got a lot to get to this show. We are going to talk all Arizona football because, again, in case you've been living under a rock, you know that Arizona football is off to the Big 12. We are in good shape right now. Now, there's a bunch of different things to talk about, but first, we're going to break down Arizona's schedule, and we're going to talk, go around the conference, see who should be favored, and all of that. But again, it's going to be nice. I know a lot of people beat up on the Big 12. I am not one of them. I'm a big fan of the Big 12 and what they can do. First and foremost, it is a fun, open conference. I don't care what anybody says about the Big Ten. That football bores me senseless. I do not want to watch a team like Iowa play in the Big Ten championship game when they literally do not try to score. I have never seen a football team that does not try to score. Iowa does not try to score, and they were able to take that for 10 wins. That should tell you all you need to know about the Iowa Hawkeyes. All right, now, let's talk about a little bit about Arizona's schedule that is out. All right, first game of the season is August 31st at New Mexico versus the New Mexico Lobos. This is a game that Arizona should win. Arizona's got better players than New Mexico. Not only does Arizona have better players than New Mexico, they are just a better team across the board. I expect Arizona to win this game. You expect Arizona to win this game as well. All right, now, NAU. Now, we don't want to have the Jetfish trap game against NAU. All right, now, NAU, the Lumberjacks are always kind of a fun little program, but this is a game that Arizona should win 9,000-0. Arizona is better at every single position than NAU, and not only are they better at every single position, they are significantly better at every single position. So again, I am chalking it up. I think Arizona gets off to a torrid 0-2 pace, my friends. All right, now, next up, Kansas State. First of all, I got to give Kansas State and Bill Snyder a lot of credit. I am a huge Bill Snyder fan. I believe that Bill Snyder is one of the 10 best coaches that has ever coached college football. Now you might say, Mike doesn't have any championships. I do not care. He went to a place in Manhattan, Kansas that is totally void of any form of tradition, totally void of any form of, let's just say, talent, local talent. And he turned it into a top 10 program while he was there. I want to say there was something like 7 top 10 finishes, a bunch of top 5 finishes. Bill Snyder is the man. Like I said, it's, I've never seen anybody do more with less than Bill Snyder, and that dude gets it. So that being said, this should be an interesting game. Now, keep in mind, this was a game that was already scheduled for the Wildcats. Not only was it already scheduled, it was a spot where, again, it's going to count as an out of conference game, which is super odd. I get it. But Kansas State's tough. There's no doubt about it. Kansas State is a tough football team. It's a tough football program. Again, they got a guy in there in Kleiman that knows what he's doing. He's done a very nice job. But you also got to remember that they have absolutely been ravaged by transfers. You're losing Will Howard, your top quarterback. You're losing a variety of other players as well. I think Arizona's going to win this game. I think Arizona gets off to a 3-0 start, my friends. 3-0 start. All right. Then the fourth game of the season, Utah. All right, now, theoretically, Cam Rising should be back. I know that, sometimes it's hard to really tell when somebody's coming off a major injury like that, which Cam Rising certainly is. And he didn't, by the end of last season, he didn't appear that he was even close to being ready to play. But if Cam Rising is ready to go, then I think Utah is going to be just like Utah was in the past. Now, keep in mind that with Utah, Kyle Whittingham is again. I don't want to really compare it to Bill Snyder because Utah had more tradition than Kansas State. But Kyle Whittingham is kind of that same template that nobody does more with less. Every single Utah recruiting class is essentially like 52nd in the country, and he is able to. He just does an amazing job there. He's able to develop talent. Not only is he able to develop talent, he's able to put together a program that kids are going to want to play for, the kids are going to want to be at. He just does a very, very good job. Again, Kyle Whittingham's a beast. I am going to say this game is in Rice-Eccles Stadium. So I am going to say that Utah is going to win this game. I know, Mike, you always back the A. Well, you know what? When it comes down to the game, I'll probably pick Arizona. But right now, in a vacuum, I'm probably not going to pick Arizona to win every game. So I am going to go with Utah on that one in a nail biter. Let's say so. Arizona at that point is 3-1, heading into the Texas Tech game. All right, Texas Tech, coming to Arizona, my friends, coming to Arizona. I think this is going to be another fascinating game. Texas Tech got a little bit of talent, but again, I'm not overly worried about them. I think that Arizona's just got better players across the board than Texas Tech. I look for Arizona to win this game. I am back in the A. I am picking Arizona to win this game. Again, it's at Arizona. I'm going to take it. All right. Then BYU. Now this gets fascinating because BYU obviously had a tougher season this past off season, and it was a let's just put it to you like this. It was not a great season. Solani Solani did not have a great year, but he's also done a pretty good job. We know that. You watch BYU, you know the talent that they've put forth, you know the players that they've had. I expect them to have a bounce back year, but I do believe that Arizona is going to be better than BYU. I am back in the A in this one. Keep in mind with BYU as well, there's a lot, again, it's going to be an older team, duh. But not only is it going to be an older team, it's also going to be a squad that I think is going to have a lot of revenge on its mind because again, they're not used to having the seasons that they just had. They're used to being a solid program. And so I look for them to make a little bit of a step forward. Like I said, I would take this game very seriously. Keep in mind, it's in Utah as well, in Provo at LaVell Edwards Stadium. But overall, though, I think Arizona's got the horses to win this one. I look for a resurgent BYU, but like I said, I look for Arizona to take care of this one. All right, then you got the game against one of the marquee entities in college football. Not maybe one of the marquee teams, but one of the marquee entities. We're going to talk about that. But then FanDuel, check it out. FanDuel.com/locked on. All right. Now, you got all kinds of good deals going on in FanDuel. Go check them out. Again, that is called a tease, my friends. Go check the FanDuel app because, again, you can put down money and you can get a lot of stuff back to play with for free. Very, very good. Check it out. FanDuel.com/locked on. All right. Now, when you're dealing with FanDuel, the cool thing about FanDuel is that you know your money's good. Not only do you know your money's good, you also know that you're going to be able to get you're going to be able to get a little bit of a skin in the game, as the kids would say. And again, check it out, FanDuel.com. And I would say, listen, if you think that I'm an idiot, go against what I'm saying. If you think that I know what I'm talking about, bet on what I think that it's going to be. But either way, FanDuel is a great spot to be able to get all of your stuff in there. Check it out, FanDuel.com. I'm going to tease the little plug there coming up. All right, but now Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats. All right now for FanDuel, new customers, again, we're going to bring this up. New customers can get 150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your bet on FanDuel. Check it out. Visit FanDuel.com. All right, now Colorado. All right, a lot of people bullish on Colorado. Listen. Last year, I think I like Dion. I think Dion's done a pretty good job at Colorado, but last year they were massively overhyped, and quite frankly, it was silly. It was a 4-8 team. They sucked. They finished last in the conference. So I don't know exactly why I get that it's Dion. They got the hype and whatnot, but we're going to find out this year if Dion can coach. Now, I do have to give Dion this. They certainly were significantly better than they were the previous year. That is a tip of the cap to Dion. But again, they still finished dead last in the conference. So again, 4-8. But some of their big problems last year, they didn't have any depth on either line. He has certainly addressed that. You got 5-star tackle coming in. Not only do you have a 5-star tackle, you also got defensive linemen coming in who are quite good as well. And you still return, obviously, Shedeur Sanders. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And Travis Hunter, along with some other wide receivers that are quite good as well. I look at it, though, and I think to myself that I think Arizona's going to get this one. It's in Arizona. Keep in mind, I know that Colorado played them tough last year, but I think Arizona is going to get them in this game. And not only do I think Arizona is going to get them in this game, I think Arizona is going to win this one easily, especially, like I said, here in Tucson. That's going to be very, very nice. So, again, I got Arizona at this point now. Let's tally these up. What do we got? 1, 2, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. I got Arizona at 6-1 right now. All right, then West Virginia. All right. Morgantown would be a pretty cool place to go watch a football game, but Arizona's not going there this year. Arizona will be going there probably next year or the year after. But again, I expect Arizona to win this game. Again, West Virginia, this is not your Rich Rodriguez West Virginia. As a matter of fact, if I was West Virginia, I would hire Rich Rod. I would bring him back because I think he would do a good job there. But West Virginia is a school that I think Arizona should be able to beat, especially at home. All right, now it gets fascinating. A cross-country trip to the University of Central Florida, the cradle of coaches, perhaps, in this day and age. Everybody at Central Florida seems to win now. It started with Scott Frost, who sucked at Nebraska, but obviously did a good job there. Then you got Josh Heupel went to Tennessee. He's done a good job at Tennessee, unlike what Scott Frost did at Nebraska. And now you got Gus Malzahn. UCF's tough. They can get talent. Obviously, they can win games. This is going to be, you especially hate if it's going to be an early start game. You definitely do not want that. This is going to be a tough one, but I am going to back the A on this. I think that Arizona is going to be able to claw out a victory. See what I did there? Claw out a victory. It's funny. So I am going Arizona. I think Arizona takes care of UCF. All right, then Houston. All right, Houston's a program that I think is going to get significantly better now that they are in the Big 12. I think that being in a major, being in a major conference and having some of the resources available that they do, I think that's going to help Houston a great deal. I look for Houston to, within a year or two, to really be like a top 30 program, but notice how I said in a year or two. The year or two is not now. I like Arizona, especially in Tucson. I am back in the A on this one. All right, now TCU, my friends, TCU. Keep in mind, TCU is 1 year removed from playing in the national championship game. It also shows you in college football that if you don't have a quarterback, then you don't have anything a lot of the time. And that's kind of what happened. I think people thought that TCU was going to be self-sustainable because you would have a quarterback in place that would be able to, come up through the ropes. That has not been the case. TCU struggled mightily this past year, but I do like Sonny Dykes as a coach. I think Sonny Dykes is a very good coach. I think he gets this one figured out. I think this game's going to be a very close one, but you know what? I'm still back in the A right there. Still back in the A. We're going Arizona. We're going Arizona to win this game. And I think at this point, we got Arizona at 10-1, 10-1, people, 10-1. All right. Now, let's talk about the last game of the season. The University of let's talk about the let's talk about the last game of the season. That's ASU. I think Arizona's going to beat the snot out of ASU. I like Kenny Dillingham. I think he's going to do a good job there. I think he's a really good dude, but that time is not now. That time is not now, and I believe that Arizona is going to smash the Arizona State Sun Devils. Arizona's got obviously a loaded offense coming back. Not only do they have a loaded offense coming back, I think they got better defensive players. Check it out because, again, I do believe that Arizona. So at this stage, then in the game, Arizona, I think, is going to be 11-1. I stand on that. I think Arizona, worst case scenario, is 9-3. I think best case scenario, they're 11-1. There's a lot of talent to be had here. There's a lot of wins to be had here. I very much like what Arizona is going to do this year, which I believe that would put them in the Big 12 championship game. And not only would it put them in the Big 12 championship game, I think it would put them in a position to possibly win the Big 12. I am going to go with the conference. All right, who's going to be on that other side? I am going Oklahoma State, my friends. I think that Arizona is going to play Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship, and I think Arizona is going to win. Not only do I think Arizona is going to win, I think Arizona is going to get a berth in the college football playoffs, where I think they can be a problem for some teams. Now, listen, Arizona's still got to get some more players in here. We all know that. Not breaking any news, but I do believe that Arizona has the horses at this point, especially on offense, to be able to hold up very favorably in the Big 12. And keep in mind too, you miss some teams. You don't have to play Kansas State as a conference game. That's nice. You don't Kansas not having to play Kansas as a conference game. That's nice. So again, you got some of those teams. Oklahoma State, another one. Don't have to play them as a conference game. That's nice. So again, you got a lot of different stuff going on in there. But I do, and I believe, and listen, I think if you get into the playoffs, I think almost anything can happen. There's going to be a lot of upheaval in college football this year. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh is off to the NFL. Nick Saban is retired. Kirby Smart at Georgia's obviously still got that thing rolling. But overall, though, the Clemson obviously is a massive question mark now. I think Arizona is going to have the horses to be able to compete. All right, now, and that's one thing that I got to give Jedd Fisch. I don't like Jedd Fisch. I don't like how Jedd Fisch left. I think Jedd Fisch is a liar, but I got to give Jedd Fisch this. He showed the model on how you win at the University of Arizona. Not only did he show the model on how you win at the University of Arizona, he also even though he didn't want to, he left a pretty talented roster behind. And we're going to find out very quickly what if he can coach and what he can do with that. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now, let's talk about what it would mean for Arizona. If Arizona gets 10 wins, then Arizona is at the best stage that it's been at in college football. Because Arizona has never been able to string together back-to-back really good seasons. Now you might say, well, what about, the Fiesta Bowl team? And then the following year was a disappointment. They were on the cover of Sports Illustrated, obviously, and they finished 25th in the country. You lost, I think, to Utah in the Freedom Bowl or something. And granted, a lot of those games could have gone totally the other way, but Arizona at the end of the day lost. They were 8-4. It's just what happens. Do you win the games? Do you lose the games? Arizona lost those games. So if Arizona is able to get to 8-4, I think that you feel very good about or 8-4, excuse me. If Arizona is able to get to 10 wins, all of a sudden, I think it becomes a lot easier because kids start coming up saying, Arizona, man, they've been good the last couple years. And that's not something that a lot of this generation has been able to say that, hey, Arizona, they've been good the last couple years. So you got to keep that in mind, everybody. So like I said, there's a lot to like, but again, you got to be able to do it on the field. And again, a big part of this is going to be, how everybody does. Dino Babers is the offensive coordinator. Now, again, Dino Babers led one of the most high flying offenses in school history here, probably the best, but that was a long time ago also. And I didn't really like those Syracuse offenses as well. But you got to say, well, you know what? He's got more talent around him. And obviously Brent Brennan's going to stake his claim to this one. So again, you got to be able to make that one work. Dino Babers is obviously going to be very, very important on how Arizona plays this all out. Then after that, Dwayne Aquina. Dwayne Aquina, I have no questions about. I think Dwayne Aquina is going to do a great job as the defensive coordinator. Not sure how long Dwayne will be here, but Dwayne Aquina brings like we've talked about, a plethora of experience. Not only does he bring a plethora of experience, he brings the ability to, I think, essentially just kind of command the huddle. Look at the defense last year and just how much better it was under Dwayne Aquina. And it was because there was communication, there was expertise. And again, I like Johnny Nansen. I think Johnny Nansen's done a good job. But I also think that was expedited by having the expertise of Dwayne Aquina around. Dwayne Aquina, obviously, and Jed Fish did not really see eye to eye on a lot. Not really those kind of, not really, obviously they just didn't see eye to eye. But Dwayne Aquina, I feel very comfortable with in that catbird seat because, again, I don't know that there's been a better defensive backs coach in the entire country than Dwayne Aquina, historically and offensively. I just don't want him around the offense. I've seen the Dwayne Aquina offense here at the U of A. It stunk. But defensively, totally cool with it. Not only am I totally cool with it, I'm excited to see it because it's been, like I said, he's going to have the full weight of the offense to be able to call plays. I think he's going to do a very good job. I think he's energized as well. And that is a big part of this, is that Dwayne Aquina is bringing a lot of energy to the equation. And when you bring a lot of energy to the equation, that makes things a lot easier for everybody around you. So again, I'm excited to see what Aquina can do. And not only am I excited to see what he can do, I think he's going to do very well. I was super happy that, Arizona, I was super happy that Arizona was able to essentially, be able to get Dwayne Aquina because I didn't know they'd be able to get him, and they were able to get him. Not only were they able to get him, they were also able to they were also able to get, essentially some more players in there. So again, we'll find out. You've got to be able to continue to get more players though, from hopefully, a Trey Smith to a Quali Conley. And again, in the next transfer portal, you're going to have to get good players. Again, this is a new era in college football where you got to be able to compete. If you want to be able to compete, you got to be able to get the best dudes out there, or you got to at least get guys who are good fits for what you want to do. And again, Brent Brennan's been in the game quite a while. Brent Brennan knows what he's doing. So again, but it's going to be on him. He's got a really nice roster. It's going to be on him to fill that roster out. And I think if he can fill that roster out, then Arizona is going to be in very, very good shape. Now, a big thing that we're looking at as well is what's the next deal with Arizona basketball? Because again, you want to be able to sweep this. And if you could sweep this, then you're really looking good. So we're going to be back Monday talking a bunch of Arizona basketball, and we're going to be talking a lot of Arizona football as well, because we are a dual sports school. Unlike our friends at ASU, we are actually good at both. And that is a good thing, obviously. So again, we'll be back with you on Monday. But as always, very much appreciate you making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Have a great weekend out there, everybody. And again, no better time to be a Wildcat fan. We're good in both sports, everybody. On that note, we will be back with you on Monday. Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats.